that Dallas Cowboys team, and this was Dan Orlovsky's big take, and the internet felt the same way. And it's the same thing that happened whenever Pouncey got into a fight with Myles Garrett after Myles Garrett took Mason Rudolph's helmet off of his head and then hit him with it. And Pouncey basically pounded him. I mean, like picked him up to the ground and was swinging on him. And a lot of people were like, well, what Pouncey did wasn't right either, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then you heard every single player in the NFL that has ever played go like, no. Like, it's almost a shame that everybody else aside from Pouncey didn't do that. That's a big part of football. Just like in America's pastime baseball, you know, you hit one of us, we're going to hit you. Like there's a little bit of that. The big thing with the Dallas Cowboys is their locker room is leaking information about the coaches not being fit to win football games, whether it's lack of teaching or lack of effort or blah, blah, blah. And they all thought, I think, that the world would turn on the coaches in that. But instead, every player that used to play basically said, like, hey, week 6, don't need that shit being leaked, okay? You guys didn't win with the last coach. You're not winning with this coach. Is it potentially your fault? That's basically the entire reaction of players and coaches that have ever been in the NFL. Like, what you guys are doing is bullshit, basically, is what everybody said. Then this weekend, Andy Dalton, who is starting at quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys because Dak's out, obviously, he gets slaughtered by Bostic of the Washington football team. Just absolutely a hit that maybe 15 years ago wouldn't have been a penalty or fine, but it would have been a fight then. But maybe back in the day, okay, this one, helmet to helmet, late, down, dead, Andy Dalton knocked unconscious, body goes lifeless, helmet comes off. It's a bad scene. And not a single Cowboy went over to Bostic and was like, hey, fuck you. Not a single one of them did it. So now, with the leaks that come out of the locker room, that they thought, I think, potentially would make the blame be on the coach's desk. Instead, it made everybody be like, do that differently. Don't do it that way. Now, with Dalton dying and them not fighting Bostic, it's like, hey, do that differently. Maybe the culture down there, we've always thought that it's potentially because they have a practice field that's in the middle of a bunch of business complex that all have windows to the practice facility. We all thought that that was, and the news was able to shoot the entire practices, I guess, before this year. We all thought that that was why the Cowboys lose, or maybe it was a curse, you know, like a Thanksgiving Day game curse. Like we thought that was, maybe it's just the locker room's a bunch of fucking shit and it's a terrible culture and they need to figure that out before they figure out anything else. And it does look like Mike McCarthy has no idea what's going on, really. Doesn't seem to be very interested. His answers, it feels like he's a guy who's been retired and like is kind of away and didn't know he's supposed to be back coaching yet. It's like what Gronk happened. First couple games, it looked like a retired guy, not really a football player yet. And then now these last couple weeks, it's like, oh, Gronk is all the way back. And maybe that'll happen to McCarthy. I don't know if he'll get tackled in his office or something to kind of fucking wake him back up. But maybe it's the culture in the locker room that's the biggest problem. And I think that's what I'm noticing because yesterday, after Terry McLaurin became the leader of the Washington football team afterwards. Shout out to Ron Rivera, by the way, completing his chemo. Rang the bell this morning. That's awesome. Good for him. But that Dallas Cowboys team, they got some problematic shit going on. And I think it all revolves around the locker room. I think that is the first thing you got to deal with, which doesn't bode well for a Dak Prescott comeback after this entire thing, by the way.
It's funny you say that because Stephen Jones 12 minutes ago said, I do believe we have the right kind of guys. I know we have the right head coach for the job. These things just take time.
Well, the right guys aren't leaking information.
I think this is why you shouldn't hire guys off of their own promo videos.
Oh, wow.
Wow.